Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Oddballs TV, because that's what I named it, and we're all odd. If I'm drinking a lot, guys, it's because I'm super sick and I don't want to hack up a lung. Just pretend I'm a snake with a respiratory infection. And without drinking, I'm going to all over here. Lots of new faces tonight. I'm excited. So tonight we have pet tuber extraordinaire, Adam from Wickens Wicked Pickle King.
That's right. That's a new channel name.
That's a new channel name. So Alyssa Griffin Davis wants to know, is the guest Adam Wickens or Bill Burr?
It's the balder, less funny Bill Burr.
Who is Bill Burr? I'm lost.
Bill Burr is the funniest human on the planet Earth that still has a pulse.
Oh, that still has a pulse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, good correction. Good correction.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just a heads up, we're all going to be nice in the chat. And if you don't like who's on, you can come back for another episode.
Oh, are we having people trying to be funny already?
Nope, I'm just warning everybody now because this is my channel. I'm learning and I can talk to whoever the heck I want to. So I'm just getting that out of the way now. So don't like it, leave.
Fair enough.
I'm so nice. No, it's always a good time around here. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's being cool. Everyone knows. Okay, all right. Yeah, it seems like everyone's being good. Okay, good.
We're all good. We're all good. So apparently you did a video where you acted like Bill Burr. I must have missed that one.
Yeah, so YouTube rolled out YouTube Shorts. So I've been trying to put out one or two a week, minute-long vertical format videos. And then I thought what would be funny is if I had another idea and then I just changed it to if famous people owned reptiles, and I would act like a famous person. And because I listen to 3.5 hours of Bill Burr's voice every week, because I subscribe to his podcast and listen to it religiously, I thought I could do that, and I can do a Boston accent pretty well. So I'm like, okay, this would be a good first one. So if you have suggestions for next week's, if famous people have reptiles, I'll be happily take your advice. But yeah, so that's the second. Actually, that was the last video I posted. Actually, it would have been on Sunday.
Oh, I must have missed that. I'm so behind on everybody's content because I have so many friends. And
there's so many, it's impossible to keep up, especially just with reptiles alone. Never mind if you're part of other communities as well. There's a dog here at my microphone. It's impossible just to keep up with absolutely everything. So it is what it is.
Oh, absolutely. Michelle Park, Adam's Canadian. So nice. So being nice needs to be given. Listen, I'm Canadian too, Michelle. And I'm not nice. Actually,
yeah, Michelle is also Canadian because she's sitting 3 rooms away from me. So I imagine she's also quite Canadian.
Oh, there we go. Can she come on? Can I get the back, behind the scenes scoop?
So Michelle is my girlfriend. She takes care of the axolotls and the turtles mostly. Yeah. Anything to do with water, I am too dumb to figure out. So she takes care of that. She takes care of the bird, which we did one video with, but he bites me, so I can't do any more videos with him. And then when I request the bear and the fox to come, she's the one who wrangles them into the room.
Well, there we go. See, I have the Snake Runner of Canada because our reptile room's downstairs. And where we do ambient temps, it's 85 to 86 in there, and I'm not going to sit in there for a podcast. Are you insane? Now. So he runs for all the animals. Goes across the house, down the stairs, back across the house. Up the stairs. I should bring the fox and the bear in. Later, guys, later. They're already trending things. Holy poop. So let's talk about it. We were talking behind the scenes that you're coming up on your 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, right? So tomorrow will be 2 years, yeah.
Wow. So what made you decide to start to get into the whole YouTube thing?
So I started keeping reptiles forever ago, and I had a pretty good collection 2 years ago. And then I was transitioning from one job to another job, and I was talking to a guy that I know who is a comedy promoter. So I'm a stand-up comedian. I did a lot of shows for this guy, and he said, okay, you have this reptile collection. You have this personality that would translate on camera. and you have a sense of humor. So why don't you create a YouTube channel? You know how to use a camera, and you know how to do basic editing. So then that day I decided, okay, I'd try it out and see what happens. And then I became obsessed like basically immediately. So then I just so Dylan Wildman, Odd Life Entertainment, if it wasn't for that guy, this channel never would have become. It was literally just, I was sitting there. I had nothing to do. I started my new job in like a week, and he's like, try this. So that day I created the channel. The next day I put out my first video and my second video and my third video. So I just kind of like jumped in with both feet.
Yeah. And I mean, you've grown fast as someone who like literally started watching you from the beginning. Like,
yeah, you said you were like what, 23, subscriber 23 or something like that?
Like 21, yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, that would have been like 2 years ago. Probably would have been January, because it took a while to get going. It always does. But yeah, it's been faster than I expected, for sure. And actually, like, as we just started this podcast, I just hit 66,666, and I took a screenshot of it. So I should have been like demonic pickle king for this particular episode.
Yeah, guys, that's why we were behind. Adam's trying to figure out how to screenshot it.
That's a cool number. And the next time I'm going to get all sixes is going to be like years from now, if I ever get there ever. So yeah, I thought it was cool. And everyone thinks that I'm a witch, apparently. So I thought it would work really well.
Yeah. Coming to a video near you. Wickens Wickens Reptiles. There will be an altar. He will sacrifice the blood of a rat. Actually, that would be a hilarious video. Just set it up, pray to the Lord Pikachu.
It's true. I sacrifice the blood of rats at least once a week, if not twice a week. So I actually, what I do is I buy them pre-murdered, and then I freeze their bodies to further pay homage to my Wiccan beliefs. And then I put candles around and I pray to them and the Lord, a demon lord that I pray to. And then I feed them to snakes, which are a sign of demonic possession. So that's basically where Wickens Wickens Reptiles came from. It's not my last name. It's just that I ride around on brooms.
Oh, you buy them already pre-killed? Like I do it myself. Slacker.
Mm-hmm. See, I did that. I just felt like, I don't know. It was too much witchcraft for me to do, because I would kill them with evil spirits. So I figured just buying them pre-frozen would be just easier, and leave more time for riding around on brooms and all the other things that I do as a Wiccan.
Michaela in Marvel Balls UK says, Kathleen, your live got hijacked by all these strange new people. What did we call them earlier? My Wickens Wickens new subscribers is what we called them earlier.
Don't sacrifice the rats.
Who's saying that? I missed that one.
That was Elizabeth and Cookie.
Oh,
there.
Sage.
Who's, apparently one of your admins or moderators too. She also moderates everything that I ever do ever. Basically runs my Discord channel. So yeah. I will not I will sacrifice the rats, because otherwise the snakes will die, and I won't have a channel anymore. And I should do that.
Yeah. No, Sage and I are actually working on a Discord right now for Dave Kaufman. So,
and how's that going?
We're having fun with it. We also stole Delaney from your Discord. She's doing all the the techie stuff. So,
and Delaney is Canadian too, I think, right?
Delaney, are you Canadian?
I'm pretty sure Delaney always talks about Canada stuff as if they are Canadian. So I would just assume.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not a lot of Canadians hanging around YouTube these days. It's getting better.
Yeah, there's quite a few. And like in terms of Canadian YouTubers, like there are some, I don't know if there's any that have reached, like in the reptile hobby, that like there's a couple that are right about to hit 100, like Diane Reptiliatus. He's like just about to hit 100. Mike Tatula is pretty close as well. So like there's some, but not a ton. Yeah.
There's some, another friend of ours, Dylan.
Yes. So Dylan is, I think, one of the, here, focus on my face there. Dylan, I think, is one of the ones that is the best for the reptile, not even just as Canadians, like one of the best for the reptile hobby. And what he does might not be the most popular on YouTube, but I think what he adds in terms of added value to the hobby, I don't really think there's many channels that can really touch what that guy does.
Oh, absolutely. He does some really cool stuff. If anybody who subscribed to me is watching right now, he was the one he started the 3 Canadian in a row sequence on Brian Cusco's channel. So
Mm.
he did it, then you, and then I was on. So Brian Cusco did a Canadian hat trick.
Yeah, so he had me and then you, and then who was his third one?
The first one was Dylan, and then
Oh,
you.
right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was on the one right before me. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that one. That was good. I watched yours as well. But yeah, that was cool. That I don't know. Cusco's like he just kind of if it doesn't matter the following or like the popularity or like if they're he just like wants to have cool people on, which is really cool. I like that guy's channel.
Yeah, which was why I was like, Brian, why do you want me on? But just wanted to pick on me for an hour.
Yeah, I watched that. I watched
I love you,
I watched
Brian.
your, and then I watched it again like just prior to this as well because you're from like the Maritimes, yeah?
Yeah. Good old New Brunswick. Woohoo.
Yeah, I got my Blue Nose 2 glass, right, which is Nova Scotia, but
Nova
still.
Scotia.
Yeah, I felt like it's the Maritime still, right? So I felt like that was like a appropriate and Canadian whiskey. So it's like a totally Canadian podcast.
There we go.
Mhm.
There we go. So let's talk about that a little more. Herping in Canada. Reptiles. How is that?
Uh, it's not as eventful as if you were to travel anywhere else, basically. Like here in Ontario, we have one lizard, 5-line skink. That's it. We've got a bunch of newts and salamanders. And then there's a bunch of snakes as well. Like every time I go herping, I always, even if I just like walk out to anywhere that has trees, I will find eastern milk snakes and likely fox snakes and a lot of garter snakes too. Like I've seen garter snakes on my property here. I saw one in November here in my front yard. So there's like a lot of, but it's all very drab looking snakes. Like there's nothing crazy looking. There's nothing really big. I think the biggest snake we have are probably, I guess, eastern milk snakes probably, but it's fun. I like it. There's turtles and stuff, but it's a very short season for herping. Let's call it that.
Well, one thing I thought that was cool last year, I think it was last year, the year before, they were releasing eastern hognoses back into Ontario.
Yes, I saw that, and I've always wanted to see one, and I never have. And like, I go to before this, what we've been doing with this year and last year, I would go to Edmonton once a year, and we'd always go to like Jasper, and then we'd go to like there's like all these places where you can go herping for like native species, and I would always look for Western hognose snakes because I thought they were the coolest, and I've never found one. I've never found an Eastern or a Western hognose, and that'd be like, I don't know, like a bucket list thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, over here we've got some garter snakes and some water snake species, Neurodia. So I mean, we've got a whole bunch. A lot of frogs, a lot of toads.
Yeah, do you guys have any lizard species there? Do you have skink species or no?
No, salamander. I think the biggest thing we have is the common snapping turtle, which I mean is not a little turtle.
Yeah, actually, the guy that I go visit in Edmonton, he used to live here, and we used to go like walk around in the woods and stuff. We found a common snapping turtle one time. Man, this thing was huge. We named it Cletus, and it was like living in this place where it couldn't really leave, so we'd see it like every week when we went hiking there. It was really cool. I didn't realize they got that big. I thought it was an alligator snapping turtle because it was so big, and then I realized like those aren't here. But I was surprised. Common snapping turtles get really big.
And they're not slow either.
No, they're not slow, and they are, I wouldn't call them aggressive, but hyper defensive. Let's call it that.
That's the best way to describe them. And they're hangry when they're little.
Yeah, I've never, well, actually, no, that's not true. I did see a little one. There's a conservatory, like a conservation area, like really close to my house that I go to a lot. And they're everywhere there. There's tons of them. And when you find them, like they're so little, and then you see one of their parents and they're like gigantic. They're huge animals.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there was one found in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, that was massive.
Yeah. So Lunenburg's an interesting place. Like I went there a few years ago. I don't want to turn this into like a geography thing. I think that is maybe like one of the cool in terms of like history. That is like one of the.
Like, where are you, Kathleen? Nobody understands where I'm at.
You're in New Brunswick.
Yeah, but most people are like, I don't understand where you're at.
Yeah, New Brunswick is like if you watch the Trailer Park Boys, when they like try to do the train thing from Canada to Maine, they're in New Brunswick.
True story. I've been on an episode of Trailer Park Boys.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So
I'm just in the background, but I'm technically on there.
whatever, it is what it is. It's still a credit in my business. That would still be a credit if you're a background actor, so or an extra, as they say.
So for anybody who watches the Trailer Park Boys, that started out as a very, very Canadian show. Like, God, what was it on? Like it wasn't even touching the States till it went to Netflix, pretty much.
Well, it was on Showtime, and
Yeah.
but before that, 95, they did a short film called Cart Boy. And like they had different names, and like Bubbles wasn't Bubbles, and like I don't know, it was a very different thing. So I've watched Cart Boy, and then they did a movie, like a full-length movie, and the very first scene of the first season of Trailer Park Boys is a continuation of the movie that's in black and white, shot in 480p. Like we're talking about, it looks like it was shot on a potato. But anyway, so if you watch the first season and you're like, why is it starting like this? Watch the movie before it, and then you'll understand. And I didn't know that until years after I started watching the show.
Justin, yes, I did. So what happens with the Trailer Park Boys a lot of the times, especially when they first started out, they would go in and film, and they would just go to a random spot in character. Like no script, no nothing. Like they would have a general idea of what would go on in the scene, but they would kind of interact with whatever's around them. So they showed up. I was 19, and they showed up at a bar I was at. And the producers are all like, okay, so they're coming in. If you don't want to be here, pretty much leave. We've got permission. If you want to be here, you're going to be on camera. You need to sign waivers, basically. So, yeah, they were just randomly doing things. And I met Bubbles, Ricky, the whole gang, Julian.
So I heard on Cusco's channel that you're originally from a place that's not landlocked. So where is that exactly?
So St. John, New Brunswick.
Okay, because I heard the way you said bar, and I'm like, okay, it sounds very Nova Scotia, but my dad was born in Moncton, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I have a connection to the East Coast a little bit, and it's very funny because like when we went on a family vacation 3 years ago to New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, like where he grew up, and then he speaks like an Ontario person now, like the way I speak.
Yeah.
We took him there, and the way he would speak to the people, even at like the liquor store or people that he didn't know, all of a sudden it was bar, harbor. And it was like, I don't know where this guy came from, but the way that people speak from the East Coast is what I'm trying to like, that's how Dr. Fexneck speaks a little bit. I'm trying to like harness like the East Coast, I don't know, speak like you fornicate with your cousin type of accent,
Ooh, Catherine's got your back. Catherine from Stellar Serpents. Eastern Hognoses, Bracebridge, Gravenhurst, Ontario.
Yeah, that's about 3.5, 4 hours from me. So I've never thought in a million years to go north to go herping, but that would be pretty cool.
I would. I mean, then you can say you've seen an Eastern Hognose in the wild.
Yeah, that would be cool. Bracebridge McDonald's has the nicest public bathroom I've ever been in, by the way. Ever. I love that place. But yeah, way long time ago, I used to go to a cottage in Martin River, which is like in between Temagami and North Bay. Yeah, that was a pretty cool place. But we always stop at Bracebridge because they had the nicest pooper of all the poopers I've ever been in publicly.
Yeah, same way. Never stop at a Tim Hortons bathroom. Never.
Yeah, well, remember when McDonald's went through like they weren't a clown emporium anymore? They were like an adult cafe. Like when they took your childhood away and made it like the land of depression. I have to go poop on the highway, or like I really want to eat something that's terrible for me. Yeah, so like they were one of the first ones to remodel and make it into an adult establishment. But they have a nice bathroom, so I mean, way to go, Bracebridge.
Well, I mean, I want to definitely eat my Big Mac beside a roaring fireplace because that makes me feel fancy.
No, I preferred to sit on the stools that look like the Hamburglar. I preferred that 100%. But I mean, if you're going in there, you're probably depressed anyway, so you might as well feel like just a gray and black building. I think it harnesses the energy of McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean, first they took away the pizza Happy Meals. Like, come on, guys.
I'll tell you what though, in my hometown though, we do still have an old school McDonald's with a ball pit. So and the sign that says 99 million billion served or whatever it was, 1 billion served, whatever. So, I mean, that's good. I like the ball pits. Those were cool. We had like birthday parties there when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, and someone always peed in them.
Yeah, or puke. There was always like some sort of bodily fluid in the ball pit. Or actually, I had this conversation with one of the admins on Discord the other day. Remember Jackass when they had like the ball pit and then they had put the anaconda in it and they try to catch the anaconda and yeah, that was, I don't know why I just thought of that right now, but yeah, good times.
That sounds like a horrible idea.
Yeah, if you want to watch the video, it's on YouTube in about 480p. It looks like again was shot on a potato, but yeah, we watched it the other day on Discord. I sent it there. They try to catch an anaconda. They let two of them go in a ball pit, and then Johnny and I think it was Bam or maybe Steve-O had to catch it, and then it just bit the crap out of Johnny. It was very funny.
Oh my god, who donated them the anaconda? That's who I want to know.
I think it was one of the guys that was on Tiger King, if I remember right.
Doc Antle.
It might have been, yeah, it wasn't Tom Crutchfield, so it was probably Doc. That makes sense. Didn't Doc go to jail recently?
I have no idea.
Or he was in some sort of like
I think they went and raided because of Tiger King and all the allegations.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw him in the news. But yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe he didn't go to jail, he was just raided.
Yeah, he was just raided, I think. They were trying to, because his ex harem girl was on Tiger King and was like, oh yeah, he takes the tiger cubs once they get a certain age and no longer handleable and cute, and he's already got adults and he throws them in a oven.
So do you think he got more wildlife and animal charges or child trafficking charges when they went to his place?
I have no idea. I try not to follow that guy because I have no respect.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. And it was actually because of like one of these podcasts I got to do because of the channel that I even watched the show at all. Someone said I had to. It was Reptile Gumbo. I was on Reptile Gumbo last year when it came out. And then, yeah, they're like, you have to watch it. You'd love it. And then I watched it and I hated myself. It was like listening to the latest Machine Gun Kelly album. I hate that I love it, but it was the same thing with Tiger King. It was like, I know this is terrible, but I love it and I have to watch it. And I didn't watch it a second time. But if they ever came out with like a movie, I would definitely watch it.
It's funny because I watched it. I mean, we were all in quarantine when it came out. We all watched it. Let's not even lie. I know you didn't. Quiet their peanut gallery. John's like, I didn't. But anyways, the person who took the best care of their animals in that video was definitely the like drug trafficker mafia guy.
Man, that guy was something else. That guy with the he had the super young redhead wife that got pregnant at the end, right? That guy?
No, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the
the one who was like, I wasn't the one who used the skill saw to chop his head off. That one.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
that one.
He was like, he was an older gentleman and he wasn't on very long of it, but he was like oh gosh. He was like a drug trafficker.
Yeah, he went to jail, but he got out and got to keep all his money.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I forget his name, but yeah. Okay. That guy.
Yeah. He seems chill. I'd hang out with him and chat, but the rest of them, whoo.
And I wonder what like a cameo costs from like one of these guys now. Probably a lot.
Oh my God. Aurora Exotics. The reptile version of Tiger King is in production. Prepare yourselves. I want to know who's on it.
If I'm not part of that, I feel offended. I feel like
Are you the Joe Exotic? Or
no,
are you
definitely not. I would probably be like I feel like that show's crazy enough where you'd have like midget tossing and I could be one of the midgets. I feel like that would probably be
you're probably one of his husbands.
Yeah, I would probably be like the what was the one who got his arm bitten off?
Oh, that was Saf.
Yeah, I'd be that. That'd be the one I'd be.
Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I pegged you for one of the husbands.
Not. I don't think so. Probably not. Definitely not the one who like shot himself. Can we move on from Tiger King? I'm just realizing how terrible. Yeah, I forgot about that part where he like Bud Dwyer'd himself. Forgot about that.
Oh my, that's gonna be an interesting movie. That's my comment on that one. So let's get back to it. So what got you into reptiles? Why? Why did you want reptiles?
So when I was a kid, I watched like Land Before Time was like my big thing, and then when I was a kid, I remember I watched Jurassic Park, but I would make my parents fast forward on the VHS through all the parts without dinosaurs. And I remember them laughing too, like just I want to see the dinosaurs only. And then when I realized that you can't have dinosaurs, but you could have reptiles, I became fascinated. So when I was a kid, it was Discovery Channel all the time. So
Mhm.
Steve Irwin, Kratz Creatures was my favorite, Jack
Yeah.
Hanna, like all these guys. And then when I was, I don't know, like 17 or 18, I got a bearded dragon, and then I got another one, and then I got a leopard gecko, Cheech, who I still have. And he's actually paired up right now. He's probably fornicating with one of the female leopard geckos as we speak. And
Ooh.
yeah, it just kind of grew from there. And then once I lived on my own, it was just kind of free for all. I can get whatever I want, including snakes. And that's how I started getting hognose snakes and ball pythons and stuff like that. So it's just something I've always liked. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm allergic to everything else that has fur besides the bear and the fox.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm
scaled it.
even allergic to like the rats we breed. The
Yeah, I'm not.
dogs,
I had
rats.
pet rats for a while, and like my allergies were okay, but I feel like rats smell a lot if you have a lot of them, right? If you get like one or two, whatever. Breeding rats is something that would probably be a lot cheaper for me to feed reptiles, but also it seems like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, especially like where we breed differently than the average bear. So, and there's nothing wrong with the way most feeder breeders breed with the rack system.
Mhm.
We breed however in cages.
Yeah.
So we do big cages with big colonies. The reason is mainly I got a whole 5 cages for $50 when we first started. Plus, we have kids too. Like my little oldest is 6, so she interacts with the animals. So our breeders are pets, and then we off their offspring. You know, works
Yeah,
for
I
us.
considered breeding rats for a while, but I just kind of feel like it just I've got enough work, and if it's gonna, how much am I really gonna save per month? Am I gonna save more than a couple $100? Probably not. Then is it worth my time when I could be doing stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
Like, am I gonna say no to podcasts like this because I have to go change rat water, food, whatever? No, it just doesn't make sense. Like this is like so. I buy them. There's actually a local guy, and he dropped off like 6 bags, like these huge Sobeys bags full of rats yesterday. So my freezer is full, and yeah. So it's breeding season right now, and the females they're pounding food. I fed 2 medium rats to basically each one of them yesterday, and so I'll start pairing males tomorrow or the next day. But yeah, it's the most exciting time of the year, right?
How's
Leopard
it go?
geckos are already breeding. Hognose snakes are going to start breeding tomorrow, and ball pythons are going to start breeding tomorrow the next day.
Excellent. Haven't so you're starting breeding, so you haven't had any locks yet with the balls.
No, so I put just to clean. I put Pikachu in with Miss Noodle, which wasn't
Yep.
even like I just had to move him quickly,
So,
and she's never locked with anyone before. And then I turned around, and then they were like locked. So hopefully I get a bunch of I guess het albino babies because I don't know what Miss Noodle is if she has any hets or not. So we'll see. But so that was
okay.
like not really planned, but tomorrow is like the start. Usually on the 14th is like the day that I start putting everything together. I don't know why I've always done it like that, but I always have, and
Yeah.
it's always worked out.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. We love breeding season around here. We just started. So this is our first season as breeders. So with the ball pythons, we were going to do bearded dragons last year, but I was pregnant. Oh, I'm sorry if you can hear my son crying in the background.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I was looking outside, like, is there a baby in my backyard? Okay, that makes sense. That's good.
So the 2-year-old woke up. He's having a growth spurt and he's not happy lately.
I wish I ever had a growth spurt my entire life. That'd be awesome.
I know. Then you wouldn't be up to Dave Kaufman's elbow.
Yeah, I can't wait till the day I get to actually meet Dave and look up at him to the point where I kink my neck for the rest of the weekend. But that'll be fun. I look forward to that.
Kayla, don't you even start. It's albino, Adam. So Kayla's in the UK, and that's how they say albino.
Yeah, okay. They also say aluminium. So, I mean, how much do you really trust those people, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. So is there any morphs you're starting to look into getting, like with ball python wise? Are you kind of happy with what you got?
So, breeding, I don't know. Like, I had a big group of ball pythons in 2016 and 2017, and then I just got rid of them, and then I just kind of decided I don't want to breed ball pythons. And then so this year I'm gonna start breeding. I'm gonna try for some super fires, and then I have, but like it's all like basic stuff, and eventually I would like to get into like piebald stuff,
Mhm.
but I don't want to be a big breeder. My goal is like for education, like that is
Yeah.
what I want to do more than anything else. So I kind of like tease it on the Discord, and I haven't really said it publicly yet. But the big room that I have, like I've got a room downstairs that is empty, that is bigger than the last house where I started doing YouTube videos. The room downstairs is bigger than that whole house, and I'm gonna make that the reptile room. So I've ordered a bunch of cages, like cages from cages, and I'm gonna make it look like the the best reptile room you could ever imagine. So that is my goal. But in terms of breeding, I still want to breed enough where I can pay for rats for the year for free. And I can sell enough where like the hobby is free. And
Yeah.
then whatever I make on YouTube and everything else is kind of like income as a profession. So the entire idea with breeding for me isn't to make money. It's just to make it a neutral thing where I'm not paying to feed my collection. It just kind of like pays for itself. So I've got some banana stuff, hopefully some fire stuff, orange dream, and albino, and that's pretty much it for now. And then hognose snakes, I was kind of thinking to expand that collection because it's less room for hogs, and also I've had a lot of success breeding hogs, but this year it's just going to be hopefully some super condas this year, and some albinos and some albino condas, and maybe albino super condas, but it's like very limited. I'm not like one of these Billy guys or like one of these guys who has like these crazy things. I like watching those channels, but like that's I'm a fan of that more than a participant.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a biology nerd, so that's why I love ball pythons because of the genetics, working the recessive genes, the codominant genes, all that. That's my favorite thing. Like sitting there and drawing the Punnett square and being like, okay, who's going where, what, why. That's my thing.
Yeah, see, I dropped out of biology in grade 11 because I was too dumb to figure it out. But yeah, I'm not like the smartest guy in the world. Like I'm smart enough to figure out how to talk to a piece of glass and then make it kind of fun to watch on YouTube. And that is like the extent of my intelligence at all. I can't even spell things correctly. So yeah, I don't know about biology too much, but I do like that there are calculators on the internet where I can just put in like, if I breed this to this, what is it going to make? So it's interesting to me. It's just like, there's certain things you have to realize you're not good at, and biology is like one of those things.
I'll help you out.
See, and that's like that's why like the reptile hobby is awesome, because like some people, as long as you're not part of like a Facebook ball python group, everyone else is pretty nice, so that's good.
Or
yeah,
or a Facebook bearded dragon group, because those are just as bad.
well, it doesn't matter. I think Facebook is like a cesspool of like just people. It's like it's a hemipene measuring contest, I'll say, to keep it PC, because it's just like all these people who like, I know more than you. No, I know more than you. No, this guy's an idiot. This guy's, it's like, it's so counterproductive, and it looks like a bunch of idiots all just kind of like converging together in these groups a lot of the time. But then sometimes you'll find like a good one. There are some really good groups, and that's why I think Discord is awesome, because you have like this group of people that all get along, and like I've got 1,500 people on my Discord now. There's no fighting ever. It's just like very positive, and like the community can be positive. It's just you enter these Facebook groups, and all of a sudden it's like all these like Facebook self-proclaimed experts that kind of converge together on that platform for whatever reason.
Yeah, and your community is who you put into it, and that's what I do. Is I put nothing but positive people who will support me.
Well, that's the way to do it. And it takes a while to build that, but that's why I've kind of like, when I first started, I'm sure you found me on one of these groups where I like promote my channel, and I do that very seldomly now, because people, that's the thing too, is like as soon as you have any sort of following whatsoever, especially if you're young or new to the hobby, like they would be I'm sure they're already all over you because you're new. It's these people, then it's always like this threshold. I've been doing this for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they think because they've been doing it longer, they know more, right? Yeah. It's like, and the way that the analogy I always use is if you're 40 years old or 45 or 50, you've been driving a car longer than everybody on the Formula One roster, but you are not better than one of those people. Experience doesn't mean anything unless you practice perfectly. And a football coach used to tell me all the time, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So just because you've been doing it for 15 years doesn't mean you know better than someone who started last year. Maybe that person that started last year, like you, talks to guys like Dave and Billy and all these guys who know what they're doing and is being mentored by them, right? Like a perfect example is like Lord of Lion, who's one of the channels who I started watching and kind of inspired me to start a channel of my own. And that guy is being mentored by Billy, who's been doing it forever. And that guy might not have the most experience, but he probably knows better than these 15-year guys, because those guys just kind of like picked up what they could and learned from books who were probably written 5 years before they started and now 30 years old. I guess my long-winded way of saying is like, it doesn't matter if you've been doing it for 15 years. There's someone who's been doing it for a year who knows more than you do.
Yeah. And watching, because again, I've been there since you pretty much started, watching the poop you got pooped onto you in Facebook groups right from the beginning. Ooh.
Yeah, everybody thinks that Canadians are super nice to each other, but then join a Canadian Facebook group, and all of a sudden Canadians are just like, man, Canada Reptiles and Ontario Reptile Addicts or whatever, those two groups are the ones that hate me the most. I would get my butt like John from Professor Herp. He's not even from Canada. He joins the groups just to laugh at how those people conduct themselves. And like some of them are business owners. You're business owners. And you see, like, wouldn't you want to align yourself with someone who has an audience, not like become public? Like, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And some of them even like will threaten you. Some of them who are like been in the hobby for 20 years. Next time I see you at an expo, I'll get in your face. Oh, it's like, for what? Because I posted a video you don't agree with? Like, give me a break.
No, I will say you had posted, it was one of your first videos where you did bearded dragon stuff. And I remember being like, hey, dude, you know, I'm into beardies. This is what I do. I'm breeding them. This information you gave is wrong. And you're like, thanks. And your next video, you corrected it.
I think that's the most important thing is like, because if I put out 48 hours of content last year, without live streams, just 48 hours. If you speak for 48 hours on anything, you are going to say something incorrect or something wrong or misspeak. And like, the first video I ever did was a hognose care guide. And I said that males have shorter tails, which is wrong. Females have shorter tails. I knew that, but I misspoke and I didn't catch it when I edited it and I put it up. And I got berated for this. Or even better, in the most illegal reptile video that I did, most illegal reptiles, I said that there's no elapids in the US, which is incorrect. Coral snakes are elapids. And I knew this, but I just didn't catch it. I misspoke. And I corrected myself in the description. And to this day, that video came out over a year ago. And to this day, I still get comments every day on this video, which is one of the most watched ones. Hey, idiot. Hey, dummy. There's a coral snakes. You ever heard of coral snakes? It's like, well, read the description. I corrected myself. I was wrong and I corrected myself. Like, that's the most important thing. You're going to be wrong, but as long as you're not afraid to say, hey, I messed up, this is the correct information, I don't think there's anything wrong with being wrong by accident.
So I've had this question up for a minute, but we've been on a roll. Amy B wants to know, can you actually combine a colubrid and a python?
No, you can't.
Not. Different species.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, they'll say, like, can you combine a python and a boa, which would be cool, but no. Like, I mean, some boas can breed together, some pythons can breed together, some colubrids can breed together, right? Like you can get king snakes and corn snakes and like stuff like that. I did a whole video on hybrids, but yeah, for the same reason that a dog and a cat can't reproduce.
Is that the maritimer coming at you?
Yeah, a dog and a cat can't reproduce. Hey, bye. Yeah, it's a Newfoundland snake for.
Hey, Mama Wickens. Mama Wickens.
My mom is awesome. She just like shows up. My mom will just show up. Oh, Lord of Lion's here. Look at that. I wonder if he like heard me blowing him earlier, basically.
Hey, Lion. What's up, dude?
Yeah, my mom shows up for everything. She shows up for my comedy shows. She'll show up for all my live streams. Yeah, she's very Oh, by the way, I'm doing a Zoom comedy show tomorrow. If you're part of my Discord, it's free. And I do a very funny and also not PC, way out there, can't say it on this podcast joke about my mom. So join the Discord, and there's a free link in there if you want to watch that tomorrow.
I'm not monetized.
Oh, that's okay. It's just I feel like if there's an audience here that might be under 18, I definitely can't say the two un-PC words that make this joke funny. So tomorrow is a different thing. And yeah, sometimes we do roasts, which is really fun too. I'm a double roast champ, by the way, for Niagara comedy. But
Okay.
yeah, comedy is like my favorite thing ever. It's just that right now you can't do it, so it's like a lot of Zoom shows. So if you want to be part of that, tomorrow there's a Zoom show at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and in the Discord there's a free link. So
That's exciting. I'm just like, what am I doing tomorrow night? Eating.
I love how everyone's just like, "Hey, Adam's mom."
It's Mama Wickens.
It's funny too because like all my friends, when I was like a kid, when I was like 19 or however old when I was living at home, we'd have like these big parties at my house, and instead of my parents like watching from a window, oh, I hope they don't hurt themselves, my dad would come and encourage us to play beer pong harder. It was, I don't know, I was like very lucky. My parents are pretty cool.
Well, your dad's a maritimer, right?
Yeah, my dad is the quintessential. Like if you meet this guy, you're like, this guy, there's something weird with this guy. It's just that he's from Nova Scotia. That's all.
So he'd be normal to me.
Right. Yeah. He was born in Moncton, and then he grew up in right by Oxford, Nova Scotia, which is the blueberry capital of Canada in the middle of nowhere. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maritimes is not big.
Yeah, he's something else. And we actually went, when we went on vacation a couple years ago, we went and visited his best friend growing up. This guy still speaks. Like, I'm pretty sure he's married to his cousin. I don't know. Like, the only, like, imagine if like a Louisiana accent is to Americans as a Nova Scotia accent is to Canadians. And then when these guys spoke to each other, it was like almost as goofy as a Newfie accent, not quite as goofy, but pretty goofy. And it was hilarious because like I've known my dad my whole life, obviously, and just to like listen to this dude speak Maritimes was like the most hilarious thing ever.
Yeah, so that sounds like he's Acadian.
Yeah, so like it wasn't even like Acadian because like I dated this girl who her grandparents spoke Acadian French, and you could barely, like, I speak French, but I cannot understand what these people are saying at all. This was like if you mix like Acadian and Newfie, and then like you put like a bottle of whiskey into it, like that's kind of what it was.
So, for the people who aren't from Canada, so where I live has, even just in my province, which is like American state, has like 5 different dialects of English. There's Fringlish, there's Shiak, there's Acadian, there's Maritimer, depending on where you live. There's Backroads. I'm up almost to the top of the province. So I'm in that part of the province that juts out. And on one side of town is Maine, and on the other side of town is Quebec. So that's where I am.
Acadian French is like the weirdest, because like I learned how to speak French in school and from someone who was from Quebec. So I speak like Quebec French, which like to people from France would be like redneck French. But then you speak Acadian French, and that is like the most redneck version of French. You can't even, it sounds like they've got marbles and bourbon in their mouth at the same time, and they always smell. I don't know what it is with Acadian people. They always kind of smell like piss, but I love New Brunswick. It's like the coolest place, well, besides Nova Scotia, but yeah, East Coast people are like the nicest people in the world as well. It's the only place where if you're from Ontario, like if you're from Ontario, you like walk in a straight line. You don't say hi to anybody. You just like walk. It's kind of like the American version of New York, where if you speak to someone, they think you're weird. But if you go to Nova Scotia, like everyone is nice to you, and like you walk into like a liquor store or like just walking on the street and people will say hello to you. And coming from Ontario, it's like weird. It's very strange.
Oh yeah, we like everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, well, and like my dad grew up in a town of like 600 people or whatever. We went there, and everyone was like, even though obviously we were outsiders, and we had an Ontario plate, everyone was super nice, and it was and it's, I don't know, this country is so weird. Everyone thinks like, oh, you're from Canada, do you know Bob? But like our country is like the second biggest country by landmass in the world. So it's very different. Like the West Coast and the East Coast might as well be different countries and different cultures. We don't even call a sofa the same thing. It's a Chesterfield over here. It's a sofa over here. It's a couch over here. So it's, yeah. Or like, I don't know, the language is almost different. So
yeah.
Anyway, I did promise this would be the most Canadian podcast ever, so I don't feel so bad.
No, and it's nice talking to someone who knows where I'm at.
Yeah, I like because you said you were from like around the Bay of Fundy, right? I remember in Cusco's podcast.
Yeah, so where I grew up was the closest landmark I would say, because I had divorced parents, so I grew up in two towns. So the closest you could get is like St. John. So I partially grew up there and then lived there my adult years. But I actually am from two little towns. One's not even a town; it's just like a municipality. Like it's just an area in the middle of the woods with ocean on one side of the road. And that would be Black River, New Brunswick, and it's on the way to like if you ever heard of them talking about the caves in
Mhm.
St. Martin's, it's on the way out there. But I also grew up in a little town called Sussex, New Brunswick.
I know
Which,
exactly where that is. Yeah.
you know, that's where I'm from.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Yeah, I'm like a geography nerd. Like I'm the only person that I know from Canada that can name all 50 states and the capitals in those states. And yeah, it's crazy how like in this country we only have 10 provinces and 3 territories. And if you polled Canadians, I bet you 10% of them would be able to name all of them and the capitals of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting place. But anyway,
Well, people forget that the Maritimes exist.
well, that's because the Maritimes as a group of provinces have less people than the province of Ontario, which is the center of the universe if you are Canadian.
Justin, I will help you with your rat problem. Yeah.
Look how many Canadians we have in here. Awesome. And yeah, very cool. I shared this to the entire Discord, by the way, not just the Canadian portion of it, but yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. I see a few. Unfortunately, a few of my friends are doing podcasts tonight, so everybody's kind of like divorced parent mentality and are spending time here, there, and everywhere.
It seems like there's like a reptile podcast like almost every day now. Dylan has one. He does his on like a mutation creation. I've been watching theirs the last few weeks. You do yours. Cusco isn't Canadian, but like that's another reptile podcast. It seems like there's like
I do
one
mine
every night.
Twice a week.
Yeah, I try to watch as many as I can, but like you said at the beginning, like the top of the show, it's hard to like and that's even like the Discord too. Like there's people who are patrons of mine who pay to get videos early and they're like videos behind. It's just there's so much content, it's impossible to keep up. And that's the thing too, is like if you're part of the reptile community, you're part of a different community too. So for me, it's comedy, right? I'm a stand-up comedian, so I watch all these comedy podcasts. Like I listen to Rogan, Burr, Your Mom's House. I can't keep up with those and the reptile community and everything else. Plus work putting out videos and stuff like that. So yeah, it is what it is.
That's what it is. So I got a question. Out of everything in your, something happened, there's a fire, I don't know, and you can only go into your reptile room and grab one reptile. Which one are you grabbing?
Diamond.
Which one's Diamond?
The bearded dragon. And if you notice how quick that was, it's funny because I watched, so Snake Discovery did a video a while ago. We watched it last night, my girlfriend and I, we watched it, and it was about their friend went to the hospital and they had to, they're talking about like how you have to have like an emergency scenario, like who's going to take care of your reptiles if something happens to you. And she looks at me and she's like, Adam, just so you know, I'm selling everything if you die. And I'm like, oh, that's a weird thing to say, but okay. And I said, but you have to keep Diamond. You have to learn how to keep Diamond. Diamond's my favorite. I talked so much trash about bearded dragons. I don't know why. They're my first reptile. I love them. And then I got one again in July. My bearded dragon, the first reptile I got, died 2 years ago. He was 12, like old age. And then I got another one. This guy who watched the channel, he's a music producer. He moved to California in July. So he asked me to come get his dragon. So I did. And I fell in love with the species all over again. So if I could have one reptile and leave all other reptiles behind, it would be Diamond, my bearded dragon. I love that guy.
That's actually kind of funny. We have a Diamond, the bearded dragon. And not for the same reason, but we have a Diamond, the bearded dragon.
Really? Well, so my Diamond came from a rap producer who named everything after jewelry. So that's how his name is Diamond. But or if you watch the Bill Burr episode, what is he, a stripper? But I don't know why they named him Diamond, but that's his name.
Yeah, ours came into us as a surrender because we used to take in reptiles for a long time that needed homes. that were just in rough condition. And when we got her, she had layers and layers and layers and layers of stuck shed. Like you couldn't tell this thing was a citrus.
That is so sad. Hey, I have a question for you. So you have a bunch of questions in your chat here. Can I
Yeah.
pee for 1 minute?
Yeah.
I forgot my jug. I'm not a Cusco. I'm not a true professional. I don't have a jug to pee in. So I'll be back in 1 minute. And you
Yep.
got some good questions here.
Oh yeah, we're going for the questions. Lord of Lion, bearded dragons are awesome. So true story, because I was into bearded dragons before ball pythons and all that jazz, I knew who Lord of Lion was before I knew who Billy was. Yep. And then I was like, who's this guy that works with Lord Lion? Not even joking. It's kind of funny. For those of you who don't know who Lord Lion is, Lord Lion has his own YouTube channel. He also works for Billy of Mutation Creation, who is a big ball python breeder up here in Canada and on the YouTubes. We got to make sure he washes his hands when he gets back, guys. Imagine if he didn't wash his hands. So let's drop some interesting questions in here. I got a hypo double het zero trans Lucius Malfoy and a Wilt built. What built? Blitz. I can never pronounce that one, guys. With Blitz, what built? I can never pronounce those ones.
Do you ever pee so aggressively it makes your eyes water? Is that just me?
No, but have you ever peed so hard it felt really good?
Have I ever peed so hard? No, I'm not from the Maritimes, but that's fine.
I was just saying that because I come from the bearded dragon world originally, I actually knew who Lord of Lion was before I knew who Billy was. And then
so Lord of Lion actually is like one of the, and I met him at a CERB, Canadian Reptile Breeders Expo, CRBE.
Yeah, CERB is the COVID.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm good. I'm not illiterate. And so I met him in 2019, and that was like one of the guys. He had like 30,000 subs or whatever. And at the time, that seemed like insurmountable. Like, I'll never get there. And it was way before I started the channel, and I watched his videos, and I saw what I love about videos and why I always like praise Go Herping is because there's like reptile knowledge and like real, like talking about reptiles, but also production value. It seems like something that you could watch on the television, something that like I would have watched, and which is why I love Dave's channel, because like the production value. Lord of Lion had that, and he had not only like reptile knowledge, but his videos were so well produced and there was so much effort put into them. So that's why I kind of like tried to model my channel after that. So I remember I got to meet that guy, and watching his bearded dragon stuff was kind of like another reason why I reconsidered getting another bearded dragon after like so horrendously talking trash about them. But yeah, of the Canadian channels, like that is probably the one I watch. Well, him and Dylan probably, and also like Diane and Mike Tula. It's cool. We have like a lot of really cool reptile YouTubers here, but none of us have like exploded past 100K yet, really.
I would like to get to even 1K. I'm sitting at 180 something.
It takes forever. Like to get to 1,000 is like, that's like the biggest thing. It took me 7 months to get to 1,000. And then like,
I mean, I just started November 13th. So
yeah. So like, that's the thing is like, it takes forever, and it takes forever to get to 100. That seems like insurmountable. And then to get to 1,000 seems like it's insurmountable. And then 10, and then the momentum keeps going. And then, like, especially like a Lord of Lion who took almost a year off, right? Like he had that car accident or got hit by a car or whatever. And then he just kind of like started where he left off. It was like the craziest thing. So, and then like Diane Reptiliatus, he had a month where he had like 15 or 20,000 subs in 1 month. So it takes one video or like one person to promote you or like something, or I think he got big on TikTok or something, but it's always like, it's like a game. It's like a game. And as long as you're producing good content, that's kind of like the catalyst for all of it.
I still remember that video where you went to the CRB in 2019 and you're just like, oh my God, they know who I am.
Yeah, it was Chuck Royal. I was talking to him, and I had 2,000 subscribers, and he's like, "Oh, I watch your YouTube channel, by the way," as I was walking away. And it was like because I was the first person to ever recognize me from anything. And like I've been recognized for like comedy before locally, but to go to Toronto, like the biggest reptile show, and have like a big breeder who I like looked up to, and yeah, it was like the coolest thing. And like the last reptile expo I went to was February. So my channel is 56,000 subscribers bigger than it was then. So like to go now would be cool because you get to like meet people and like realize the impact. Because at the end of the day, it's cool to have like a big channel and make money and the whole thing. But the reason that I started to begin with is because I thought that I could add something to the hobby. So when people come up to you and say, "Hey man, I got into reptiles because of you," or "I got a ball python because of you," or "I started a rescue," it's like, that is like the coolest thing ever because your impact on the hobby is being realized in that moment. And you get to like be one of those guys that you get to look up to. So to me, that's what it's all about. And it kind of sucks missing that now because I don't get to like go out and meet people anymore.
Yeah, I keep saying we've never been to an expo, especially where we live. So once all this poop is over and done with, we're going to the first CRB, and I keep saying it's going to be like a big family reunion, finally being able to meet a lot of these breeders who've been mentoring us like over the internet and things like that, and being able to meet them, like Billy, because Billy's big supporter of us. God love him. I don't know why, but he's team Kathleen and John. Like, it'll be nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is like I feel like as you keep going and you show yourself to be a positive influence on the reptile community, then like doors open and people who would probably have talked to you anyway. Because what I've realized is people are nice in this hobby, but like I remember going to expos when I didn't have a channel or like I was just starting, and I'd see like a guy like Billy who had like this clout that I didn't have. And it was almost like intimidating to talk to someone like that. So now to be able to go talk to these people, like not an even playing field by any means, but as like, "Hey, I'm part of this community too." And it just feels like doors open where you can like kind of collaborate and talk to people who before seemed like out of touch or out of reach. And then I guess what I'm trying to say is the biggest thing is I realized that everyone's kind of like really nice to each other. And the only people who are kind of like dicks in this hobby are people who have nothing to offer anyway. So anyone like a Billy or a Lord of Lion or any of these guys who actually have something to offer are actually nice to people. And I noticed that because I talked to Lord of Lion at this expo and he took a minute to do a video with me, even though he's never heard of me at the time. So most people are really nice. And I think that people in the hobby, it's kind of like beneficial for them to realize this, because I think a lot of people are like afraid to ask questions. And you talked about this on Cusco, how you don't care, but most people are afraid to ask questions. They're afraid to like get advice. And all of us who actually care about the hobby, who don't have like this crazy ego, actually want to help other people. And that's kind of like what the whole channel started as, for me anyway. And I'm sure a lot of other people as well. So when the world opens back up, I can't wait to go to these expos and kind of like with this new perspective of how the reptile hobby actually is, not the way that I thought of it before.
Yeah, I can't wait to like go and look down on you and shine your head.
I can't wait to just show up. I love it too. Like I show up to these things. "Hey man, I expected you to be like a lot taller." Like what? Average height? Is that what you're trying to say? Like, rub my head. It's good luck. It's fine. A genie pops out if you do.
I know I'm taller than you, so that's just going to be like, "Hi, Adam."
So is everybody else. If you are over the age of 11, you're probably taller than me. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Alyssa Griffin Davis wants to know, how do you plan on moving all your animals to Texas so you can come for your comedy here? Austin has a great comedy scene outside of COVID times.
Yes. So Austin is the goal. I would love to eventually move to Texas. That is my goal in life. To move all the reptiles would be difficult. The saddest part, I said that Diamond is my favorite. I would have to part with Diamond because you can't move Australian reptiles over the border. So there are some reptiles that would stay behind, and I have someone here who is willing to take them, which is awesome. But otherwise, it would be like going through Reptiles Express, basically. And what I would probably do is I would probably just drive a U-Haul or like tag team with someone to drive U-Hauls with all my stuff there. But I don't know. I feel like that is like the end goal, but I haven't really put much serious thought into it. So
I
we'll
thought
shelf that idea for now.
you can import bearded dragons though, because I know I was looking at importing a certain kind of beardy before.
So
Maybe it's different exporting versus import.
yeah, like if it was possible, I don't know. If I had it my way, I would bring everything with me. But at the end of the day, like the end goal is, I love Canada. I'm proud to be Canadian. But at the end of the day, for what I want to do for a living, the only way to really do that is to move to the States. So eventually, that'd be awesome. But I mean, that might be a million miles away. And at the end of the day, the border is closed. I can't even go over if I want to, even though I live 20 minutes away.
I know. I can't wait for it to open up. All Canadian Reptile Girl wants to. What would be your? I don't know if this is to you or to me or both. What would be your biggest piece of advice to grow your channel? Just do it.
Yeah, my biggest advice is like jump in with both feet and make. How do I say this politely? Most people who start YouTube channels, and this isn't directed at all Canadian Reptile Girl because I've watched her channel. It's actually very good. Most people who start YouTube channels start putting out videos. There's no editing. It's just they talk to a camera and they think their channel is going to blow up. That's not how it works. You have to be better than everybody else in order to get recognition. And the reason that I think that my channel has gained some success is because I put in so much effort into the editing and I try to make it the production value higher. So and I give this advice all the time because my Instagram DMs are full of how do I start a channel? Big personality, make sure that what you're saying is true so the reptile community actually supports you. And then lighting, audio, make sure that you figure out how to edit. Like there are certain things that, because with everything that you do on YouTube, you have to be good at whatever it is that you do. If you're motorcycles, if you're reptiles, paramotoring, whatever it is that you do, you have to be good at that. But also you have to be good at making videos. And if you are not good at making videos, you have to get good or give up on your dream to be a YouTuber because you have to have good videos. Otherwise, people will not watch you. People do not tolerate bad audio and bad video. It's just, there's so much good stuff. Why would you watch a subpar YouTuber when you can watch an awesome YouTuber like a Barchuck or a Lord of Lion or Go Herping or Emily or any one of those people? Like, why would you watch something subpar when there's so much good stuff out there?
So all Canadian Reptile Girl, go check out my early videos and don't do that.
Yeah, go check out my first videos and don't do that also. Yeah, me talking at a camera with no zooms, no pans, no B-roll. Like, yeah, that is how your channel doesn't grow.
So initially my whole channel, the idea stemmed from like I have, I'm going into my first season. I have friends who are going in their first season or just finished their first season. And I also have friends that are YouTubers that are, well into seasons. And people are so scared to promote themselves and then ask these mentors, we'll call them mentors, questions. That's how it started. I was going to do an Instagram series on new breeders, first season or less. And then I was going to do a mentor series. And then Sal from Gomez Pythons is like, you really should do this on YouTube and people can learn and grow with you as you're asking the questions. And I'm like, okay. And then Chino from DMJ Reptiles was like, hey, here, I asked him to come on. He's like, sure, but you really do have to do it on YouTube. Here's my phone number. Call me. I'll tell you how to do everything on YouTube. And I'm like, I've had one conversation with you and you're like, here's my phone number. Call me right now and I'll tell you everything you need to do.
Well, I think that's the difference between people who actually care about this hobby and people who care about themselves. Is people want to watch other people rise up. And this whole crabs in a bucket thing where you're pulling other people down so you can get ahead is foolish, it's juvenile, and nobody who does that will ever get ahead. So these people like you're talking about who want to have had one conversation with you and want to help you, it's the same way that when people jump into your DMs, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel, and you spend 15 minutes writing out a reply. Because I think all of us, and it's the same thing in the comedy community too. I've been doing comedy for way longer than I've been doing this YouTube channel. And if someone ever says to me, hey, I want to get on stage for the first time, I don't see it as like a threat or like I'm competing against you. I love this community and I want it to be as good as it can possibly be. So I'm going to give you the best advice that I can possibly give you. And I think that's like the great thing about this hobby is people who actually care, actually want you to succeed.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's no one way to do anything. Like just because you do videos and stuff and, you know, edited and B-roll doesn't mean I can't do that. I suck at it.
Yeah, and there's like in this niche, there's different niches. Like
Yeah.
you and Rude Dog Reptiles, you talk to people. That's
Yep.
a niche of itself. I
Yep.
do top fives and care guides and like all this stuff. And if I had to like, I don't know, I'm very similar to like a go herping where I don't really like go out because I don't know, maybe that'll change once the world opens up. And then there's like a Dave Kaufman and he goes around the world to expos. And if
Yeah.
that is maybe the best YouTube channel for reptiles that there is, because that guy is like very similar to what I watched growing up, who inspired me to love reptiles. Not everybody has the funding to do that. So some of us, or like if I had to, I don't know, like, or Clint's Reptiles is another one too, where he actually has a partnership with a pet store in Utah where he can have these animals, and he's an actual PhD. He's a biologist, or is he a biologist? He's a PhD anyway. It shows it on the screen. So like, there's all these niches within the reptile community, and you just got to pick the one that is right for you and the one that you're going to succeed at, or the one that you like to do. So yeah, like you said, there's not one way to do it. There's a million ways to do it. You just got to pick whichever one you actually like doing and you'll think you'll be successful at.
Oh yeah. Clint, by the way, if you ever get a chance to talk to him, he is the nicest human being alive.
He seems like it.
Oh my God. He has a Discord and he'll come on once a month and you know, chat and stuff, and he convinced John to let me get bull snakes. It was great.
Yeah, I talked to I never really talked to him. We've talked via YouTube comments. Like I know he subscribes to my channel and I talked to him on his live stream sometimes, but yeah, he seems like a good guy. It seems like one of those guys that is very nice, but he's also like a person and doesn't like hold him like I'm a celebrity, you know what I mean? So yeah, he seems like one of the good guys of the hobby.
He literally like he'll do the things and I'll have it like on speaker because I'm running after the kids, and my 6-year like, that's Clint, he's my best friend. Clint, I have a question, and he'll sit there and take the 5 minutes to talk to my 6-year-old about whatever she wants to. Like, he's such a good human being, and if you ever get the chance to talk to him, like it's fantastic.
Yeah, well, I would love to be able to go and meet with these guys and like collab with these guys. Obviously, like right now, the way that the world is, like I'm a hostage in my own province, so I can't really do that. But yeah, I think that if I build the channel enough, maybe that'd be cool, because then you get like guys like that who are good for the hobby and they can like add another way of thinking about reptiles, and like that's the whole goal anyway, and it contributes to the end goal, which is to educate people about reptiles in the most entertaining way possible.
Absolutely. Who do I have no idea who that is? I don't know. There's a lot of Chris, stop. They're bugging me. Okay, so because I'm so new to the hobby, sometimes I don't know who all the YouTubers are. I stay in my lane. Also, you can tell I'm French Canadian because I talk with my hands. But yeah, I don't know who are you talking about, because I can't remember. So any big plans for 2021 with the channel? New things, new ideas?
Well, once it gets warmer, I'm going to have time to build more outdoor enclosures. I have this new property, and so definitely tortoises go outside this year. Bob will go outside this year. Attila will go outside this year. So I have plans to build more outside enclosures. I've got plans to do more herping because I have more time this year than I had before. And I've got some like cool herping spots around me. So I think just to like do different types of videos, like the top fives are awesome, but also I understand that they're going to get stale. So I would like to do more of that. And then if other YouTubers are willing to collaborate with me, I want to do more of that. Yeah, I've kind of like made this my number one thing that I do. So I've got more time and I just kind of want to make the channel as good as it can possibly be and take more suggestions of what to do and kind of act on them.
Any new species you're thinking about adding? Or is that all?
Yes. So I was going to do a whole video about this, but like Uromastyx is something that I've been interested in since like the early days of me liking reptiles. I was like obsessed with them in like 2010. So Uromastyx will be something I add for sure. I think a Tegu, hopefully. I bought the enclosure, so I have an enclosure for a Tegu coming. So hopefully a Tegu. And there's a few other things as well that I'd like to get, but for sure those two things. But maybe others as well. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get into spotted pythons.
Yes, I have a spotted python, and I love Jimmy. He's a good dude. In fact, the guy who sold me Jimmy, if he's got more coming, I will probably buy everything that he has.
Okay, well, can you leave me a 1-to-1 pair and tell me who Jimmy's with? Because I can't find them.
Yeah, so there's one guy in my area, and he tells me every time I see him, he's like, "Bro, I love your channel, but please don't tell anybody who I am for the spotted pythons," just because like he doesn't want. He also breeds. Oh yeah, there's another thing that I want too: pink tongue skink. I want a pink tongue skink this year, which actually this guy also breeds. But
if you're watching, I'm cool. I just want a 1-to-1 pair. But like that's
yeah,
it.
so my goal is because this guy breeds like as a hobbyist, like very cool guy. What I would love to do is be able to breed these species and then be able to sell them throughout Canada or maybe even the United States, right? Like, because I know you can sell them into the States. Actually, spotted pythons are Australian, right? So, yeah, I don't know. That'll be difficult. But anyway, at least through Canada, because it's a very underrated species. Spotted pythons, children's pythons, like the Antaresia family as a whole, are very underrated. So to bring more awareness, which I kind of do, and actually there was a point in the spring and summer where people would comment, I'm sick of hearing about stop talking about Dumerils boas and spotted pythons. We get it. They're awesome. So I just kind of like want to, Dumerils boas and spotted pythons might be like the next big thing in snakes, I think.
Yeah, and both are, I can't find them.
So Dumerils boas are blowing up, and I don't know if I had anything to do with that. I know Go Herping is gonna like definitely blow it up now because he's been talking about them. Much bigger channel than me, but yeah, that is like I think one of the next big things for sure is spotted pythons and Dumerils boas, especially Dumerils boas, because they're awesome. They're a ground dwelling species, right? They're mostly terrestrial, whereas BCI or BCC is semi-arboreal, so they don't need as much height and they don't get as big, but they have like this awesome temperament. I don't know. I love Dumerils.
And that's the thing too. So I never owned snakes until we started getting the ball pythons. So I want to gradually get into bigger stuff. And I'm thinking Dumeril is the way to go to ease me from ball python to something eventually bigger. Get them big old snake skills.
Yeah, and Dumerils boas are like a cooler species as well, so they can handle like a cooler temperature. A lot of people say don't even offer them a hotspot. So I've been like I have two Dumerils boas. I've got a juvenile and an adult. The adult I don't give a hotspot to, and the juvenile I do. So I'm kind of like experimenting myself because there's not so much specific care requirements. So it's like one of those ones that's interesting because with ball pythons, we know how to take care of them. We've been doing it for so long, so many of us. We know exactly what the hotspot should be and so on. But with Dumerils boas, it's not like that. There's like a lot of like what's up in the air. So to me, that's interesting because they're not as popular, but they are going to be. And I've got two females now, and I am looking for a male because I'd like to start breeding them.
Yeah, that's kind of like me with the Cuban false chameleons. The video of the little guy I showed you the other day was all fluffed up and angry.
Yeah, false chameleons are awesome. They're another species that I wouldn't like rule out. Oh, another species that for sure for 2021 and something I've got in the works is frill dragons. I think would be cool. And because I have a place where I can build like a really big, cool arboreal enclosure, I think that'd be like, I don't know, something cool to get into.
Yeah, mine are spotted pythons, Dumeril boa, and bull snakes if I can find them. All three hard to find snakes in Canada.
Yeah, they all are for some reason. I saw another Dumerils boa on Kijiji the other day. It's a female and $450 just for a juvenile female Dumerils boa. No setup, no nothing. Just $450 for Dumerils boa.
Not bad. I buy ball pythons, so that's not bad.
Would you ever buy a normal ball python for $450?
No,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's not even a morph. It's just like normal Dumerals boa. That's just kind of what they are now.
I wouldn't buy a normal ball python to begin with.
Well, exactly.
The closest
Yeah.
thing I
So,
have to a normal ball python is a triple head ball python.
yeah, I have one normal ball python just because someone gave her to me. Like, they needed to get rid of her like that day. And so that's Miss Noodle. But I don't know. She might have hets. Who knows? Like, that's the thing is, like, a lot of the time with ball pythons is even things that are normal that have hets, people just kind of like just get rid
They
of
don't
as normal because they don't know.
Yeah, because they don't sell. So they'll sell them wholesale to like pet stores or whatnot. Because I mean, if you're sitting there paying to feed an animal, feed an animal, feed an animal, feed an animal, but it's not useful for you to breed, you may as well just wholesale it, sell it off to a pet store or whatnot. That
Yeah, and
happens.
that's the thing too with like the other stuff that I work with is I work with like hognose snakes, right? And even like a normal hognose snake will go for $200. So I'm trying to work with things that like with ball pythons, I just do it because I love them and I only have like 2 or 3 pairs.
Yeah.
But with hognose snakes, it's something I want to branch out more into because there's a low supply, but a very high demand. And the same thing with Dumerals boas. So I want to breed things that I can sell immediately, that if I'm flooding the market, it's not like an already flooded market. It's people who are like a species that are sought after. So that's kind of why I got into hognose to begin with. I went into a reptile expo in 2015 or 2016. There was one hognose snake in normal baby. That's it. The whole expo, just one.
Yeah.
And I bought it. So I decided, okay, if I like this thing, I'll start breeding it. And it turns out that I did like it and there's a big demand. So to offer supply isn't a big deal. Where if someone says to me, hey, what is the cheapest snake that I can buy that I can start breeding? I don't want to talk to you because you're in it for the wrong reasons. And ball python, you're probably going to buy a bunch of normal ball pythons and produce them and you're not going to be able to sell them. And it's just, yeah. My advice, if you want to start breeding something, breed something that has a high demand and a low supply.
Yep.
Because you're going to get rid of them.
Sage, I thought I've taught you better by now. I want a normal ball python. I've taught you better.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with normal ball pythons as long as you are not breeding them in mass because they're hard to get rid of. But if you buy one as a pet, I think normal ball pythons are actually wicked. I've got a normal and I've got a normal het for albino. And I think like they're cool. I think they look awesome. It's just like there's so many of them and there's so many morphs that look cooler that it kind of like puts a damper on how cool a regular ball python is.
Yeah. I'm a pattern girl, so I like the crazy patterns of other morphs. That's my thing. I just want a friendly snake, Sage says. Oh, my goodness. Sage will, I'll teach you the ways. I'll teach you the ways, honey. No, what kind of Euromastics are you looking at getting into? I really want ornate. The ornate one.
Yeah, I like the ornates. And then I don't know, there's so many. Like Egyptians are cool, but they're really big, which is kind of like what draws me to them. And then I don't know, there's so many. Like they're like Euromastics are they're high yellow, like the yellow ones, the red ones, which are the species I know what they are. I just watched a video on them. I forget like the name, but ornates also. But I think it would be something that kind of like looks cool because at the end of the day, like when I build this reptile room, I want it to be something that if you walk into and you look at, you're like, I can't believe this is a private collection.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm just fortunate enough to have the space to do it. And I have the time to do it, I guess, because this is kind of like what I do now for a living. So I feel like I just want something that looks really, really cool, which is why I try to like branch out instead of breeding a bunch of the same thing. I try to get as much diversity in my collection that I can actually care for responsibly as I possibly can. And I think Euromastics are cool because they're not that difficult to care for. High temperatures, sure, and you have to feed them a ton of vegetables, but I live 5 minutes from a grocery store, so who cares?
Yeah. That's neat.
And also, I live in a place where I can grow anything in my backyard in the summertime. So I can literally just go buy some Swiss chard, some collard greens, and then boom, I have food in my garden for them.
Yeah. Absolutely. I like in the summertime so I can go pick dandelion greens for the
Yeah,
berries.
yeah, we got a lot of those here. Man, in the summer here, it's like a different type of heat. I'm very lucky. I could keep basically any species of reptile outside for 4 months. It is
It's
hotter than
humidity.
most parts of Africa in Niagara for most of the year,
Yeah,
or for part of the year.
it's humidity, but I don't know. Like we moved September 30th up to the northern part of New Brunswick, so that's what I'm not sure about in the summer. What it's like up here. I'm used to like central and southern New Brunswick. Ron Compton, spotted pythons. Yeah, I need spotted pythons so bad. Like I've been looking for them forever.
Yeah,
Nobody.
spotted pythons are hard to find. Children's pythons are much more common,
Yeah.
but spotteds
And
are the biggest of the Antaresia. So if you want the biggest of the smallest pythons, spotted pythons are the ones. And people say that they're nippy as babies, but I don't know. I've never had that issue. They're very food motivated. Like Jimmy eats very well, but yeah, spotted pythons are underrated, and I think they're going to catch on for sure.
yeah, I'll have to get you to buy me some of them. I'll just buy them off you.
Yeah, well, that's. I would love to be able to be the liaison from this guy to kind of like supply them throughout Canada at least.
Not
But and
from
the nice thing is too,
Canada.
like we actually have pretty good shipping of reptiles throughout Canada. Reptile Express does a really good job. Like I mean, aside from the video Billy put out 2 weeks ago, normally they
That
do a really good
was
job.
FedEx. That wasn't Reptile Express.
Yeah, it was FedEx. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but Reptile Express uses FedEx, so I mean
So does
they kind of go
Reptile.
hand in hand.
But I think it was something that because I've had Reptile Express send me stuff, but lizards can come UPS too. Snakes can't go UPS, but reptiles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder
I
why
don't
that
think our
is.
lizards can. I don't know. We've had literally had to go to the UPS store to pick up bearded dragons from BC.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that's still the case, but it was like that one time.
What are the laws like in terms of reptiles? Like I know because I know that 2013 you had that rock python that killed those kids that actually didn't kill those kids in New Brunswick. But in terms of your laws provincially, like what do you have in terms of laws there?
So we have the exclusion list. So basically, if it's not on the list, you can't have it.
Okay.
But there is one rule in Fredericton, New Brunswick, which is where we used to live until we moved recently. You cannot wear a neck like neck. You can't wear a snake like a necklace in public.
See, so I knew this because at a Scholastic book fair in grade 4, there was a book called You Can't Do That in Canada. And it was about the most obscure laws in all of Canada. And the very cover of the book was a guy wearing a snake as a necklace. And that was the very first, on page 1, the very first obscure law of Canada. So I did know that.
I found that out. Yeah.
Yes. Also, in all of Canada, you cannot buy a 26-cent item with 26 pennies, which doesn't matter anymore because we don't have pennies. But that is also the other thing I retained from that book from grade 4.
Yeah, there's one from like St. John that you can't pull a casket on a horse during between these hours down Main Street. And I'm like, that must be from like 1800s.
In Ontario, you can't put a ice cream cone in your back pocket on a Sunday.
I need to know stories behind these laws.
So I didn't mean to ruin your Sunday, Ontarians, but no ice cream cones in your back pocket on Sundays.
You can only put it in your front pocket, guys.
Apparently, I know it probably ruined your whole picnic, but that is a law in Ontario.
Sorry, guys. Front pocket only on Sundays. Let's see. Ron Compton dropping the knowledge. Snakes in the 3 feet to 6 feet range are the most ideal pets for most people. He says most.
Yeah,
We'll
well,
see.
I mean, I can't disagree with them. That is true. I mean,
Is
ball pythons and corn snakes both fit in that. Hognose snakes are a little bit smaller, but yeah, I can't disagree with that. He is absolutely right. And actually, most boas kind of fit in that too.
Yeah. No, yeah, our laws here pretty much. So our laws haven't been updated pretty much since that incident, which was I don't think it was 2013. I think it was before that even.
It was 2013.
2013. It
Yeah.
hasn't been updated since then. And a lot of reptiles came into the hobby since 2013. So
Yeah, that was the most shady, and I don't know like how much I'm allowed to say without being sued by somebody, but that is the shadiest thing that has ever happened in the reptile trade in any part of the world that I know of. That was like the craziest thing, the most nonsensical, obviously is not the way that the newspaper reported its story that I've ever heard. And they made a bunch of laws because of it.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. But now we can't have larger snakes here. So it's like there's some I would like to get my hands on someday. Like,
Yeah, there's a
bird.
town
I love
just north of us, like 5 minutes away. And in 2015 or 2016, so this guy had like monocle cobras and all these venomous snakes. Someone who knew him broke into his house, stole most of his collection. And because he reported it to the police, now that city has a whole bunch of new bylaws that you can't own basically anything.
Yep.
So if this guy hadn't reported it to the police, there would be no harm, no foul. But because he did the right thing, now the entire community is being punished.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how laws work in Canada.
But I mean, it sucks because none of us in the reptile community here we're scared of them making the list smaller.
Mhm.
Or list smaller. So none of us will try to get permits for anything. We just don't get them. Or try to change
Well, the
anything.
thing too is, like,
So technically,
if
like
you get a permit, you almost always have to register. And in Canada, at least most of the world, but in Canada, registration almost always leads to confiscation. And if you don't believe that, look at Canada gun laws as of May 2020. Registration almost always leads to confiscation. So you're almost like afraid to get permits or register your animal, or if you're grandfathered in, you have to register, because a lot of the times, okay, now all these people have had 2 years to register all these things. We know where all these things are. Now we're changing the law. We know what you have, and we're coming to take it. So it's like a very flawed system for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the newest New Caledonian species on the list, because at that time that was really all that was in the pet trade, are crusties.
Really?
We can't have a lychee here. We can't have
That's ridiculous. Why? That's so nonsensical. That's like in Saskatchewan, you can't have ball pythons. For what reason? A ball python has never killed anybody in the history of everdom. A ball python in Saskatchewan will die for 8 months of the year. It makes absolutely zero sense. Who makes these laws?
The Department of Wildlife and Fishery here. But here's the thing: back in 2013, you didn't really see lychees and that much stuff in the trade. Cuban false chameleons weren't in the pet trade really at all back then. I have a loophole I can work with that because they are an anole species. The way they classified them is they classify all anoles and then they break it down even further. So technically I can have my Cuban false chameleons on a technicality.
It's so ridiculous. The way that people make laws everywhere, but especially in this country, is they kind of like look at pictures of something, someone who has no idea about anything at all, and they'll just say, okay, well, I read this story about African rock pythons here. I did no research on it, but I read a headline, so therefore they're now illegal where I live. It's just the most ridiculous thing ever. And like, to make laws based on no knowledge whatsoever, without consulting a zoologist or reptile keepers or someone who actually knows what they're talking about, it just seems like not only is it wrong, but you're taking away people's livelihoods. If you have a pet store that is selling these things and you have a stock of them, or you're a breeder, like, shouldn't those people be consulted or be given a heads up to get rid of their stock, rather than today it's legal, tomorrow it's not legal, and now all of these people are sitting on hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands or thousands of dollars on stuff that they can't sell, I can't do anything with. It's ridiculous.
Yep. And then there's new stuff that comes in, and we don't want to draw attention to ourselves because of that whole incident, that we won't go to the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries and be like, look, here's this new species. I want to get it. Can I get like an exception or something and educate? Because they're so strict on reptiles here because of that incident. We're just like, nope, not even going to bother. But so it's kind of funny. You can't have a lychee, but you can have a black throat monitor here.
it doesn't make any sense. And like what they're doing is, I understand sort of on a 1% juvenile thought basis level what they're trying to do, but they're not helping anybody. All they're doing is they're making these ad hoc rules that don't make any sense, and they're promoting not paying attention to the laws. You're promoting people to break laws because they are afraid that if they abide by the laws, you're going to make new laws against those people who are abiding by the laws. You should be going after people who are not doing it correctly, not people who are doing it correctly. I don't know. It's the same thing with a lot of these laws, which just ban things randomly just because it doesn't help anybody except for criminals. So, and that's the thing too, is like if you ban, say you own a black throat monitor, and then all of a sudden you own a breeding stock, and now you make it illegal to own them overnight, which is how Canada does things, by the way, is it's legal today, tomorrow it's illegal. And you don't even know about it until you read it in the paper. So now you're a felon and you don't even know it. Are you going to get rid of your reptiles for free to a wildlife education or to somewhere where they might just euthanize these animals? Or are you going to sell them for 10 times as much money to someone who is going to illegally keep them? You are almost forcing these people in order to keep their livelihood to break the law. It is absolutely ridiculous. It makes zero sense.
Absolutely. But it's so funny that you can have a black throat monitor here, which if anybody doesn't know that species, black throat monitors get very, 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 very big. But you can't keep a leechy.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to not be able to own a black throat monitor, but you can own that you could own a black throat monitor, but you can't own species of an. It doesn't.
Again, because the list hasn't been updated since 2013, and leechies weren't super huge in the pet trade at that time. So, I mean, but it's just kind of funny that, you can't have a leechy, but if I wanted a black throat monitor, I can sure damn well go buy one of those. And here comes Red Jackson. So, Canada laws are so odd. So odd. In Nova Scotia, you have to have a permit to have a bearded dragon.
Well, yeah, so that makes sense because bearded dragons are so vicious. They will definitely murder you in your sleep. And even if they don't, they'll definitely escape their enclosure and be able to live in sub-zero temperatures for 8 months of the year. So that law totally makes sense. Great job.
What I do like about that one, the permit thing, is coming from someone like John and I used to take in a lot of reptiles that nobody wanted. They would surrender it to us. Guess what we took in a lot of? Bearded dragons.
Here's the thing. If you are motivated to get something, you're going to get it. So to be able to have to get a permit, and then that's the thing too, is like, then you kind of put yourself at risk. So you get a bearded dragon, you're keeping it illegally because you don't have a permit. Yep. Instead of trying to sell it on Kijiji, let's say, and then maybe face the backlash of a bylaw officer, do you have a permit to own this thing? Maybe you just get rid of it and let it go in the wild and it dies in 3 months when it gets cold. I think that permits to own things that are not dangerous or a risk of invasive is ridiculous because you are taking taxpayer money in order to create these laws. So I pay taxes so that you can make a law that makes 0 sense and go on a vacation or a retreat as you do it. And it makes absolutely 0 sense whatsoever. Leave us alone. I understand maybe understand permits for venomous stuff or something that could kill you or a family member. But for a bearded dragon, there is 0 reason whatsoever that you could never convince me that a permit for a bearded dragon in Nova Scotia makes sense, even 1% at all, ever.
I'll have to, when this is done, I'll have to text you our exclusion list here. It's actually not as bad as some of the other places in the Maritimes. A lot of it's just don't keep large snakes, don't keep venomous snakes, and don't keep snakes that that are native, which makes sense. I shouldn't be able to go in my backyard, pluck a garter snake, and put it in a tank. Absolutely. But,
Yeah, I agree. I think that I guess, I don't know. I guess they're trying to deter poaching. But here's the thing. If you want something and you're motivated to get it, you're just going to get it. It doesn't make very much sense at all. And if it's not an endangered species, especially, I don't know. It just seems ridiculous to me. especially like that bearded dragon thing, like that. I'm almost like getting upset just hearing that because it makes so little sense. And to use tax dollars to make a law like that, like it, I don't know. It just seems so ridiculous. Like, what don't we pay these people to like make laws and do things that protect us Canadians? Not like, I don't know. It seems like such a ridiculous thing.
Oh yeah, it's fun over here. Come to the Maritimes.
Yeah, Maritimes are cool for like 2 months a year when it's not freezing.
Yeah, you've been to the warmer areas, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I've also been to Northern Ontario. We're talking like Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, Thunder Bay. And those places in October, I would leave here, get on a flight. It was 20 degrees Celsius here. And then I would go there and it'd be minus 10. So I'm very aware of how this country works. But yeah, that's why I want to move to Texas. I don't like cold.
We had minus 17 and snow before Halloween.
Yeah, see, no, I'm not interested in that whatsoever. It is January 13th, and we have not had lower than minus 7 in this part of Ontario yet.
I hate you.
Yeah,
the real reason to hate Adam Wickens. He lives in a warmer part.
I live in the warmest part of this country, and one of, right? Like Vancouver's a little bit warmer, and I still hate it. It's still way too cold here. I am not interested in having to wear snow pants at all, ever. If I don't have to wear a jacket, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I remember like putting layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of like snow pants, sweaters, jackets, whatever, under my kids' Halloween costumes so they wouldn't freeze their butts off trick-or-treating this year.
Well, that's like too, like I do these podcasts and I'm talking about like, oh, I want to move to the States because like there's more opportunity. And then people will be like, hey man, you should move to Wisconsin. And I'm like, no, I don't want to move to Wisconsin. Like, give me a break. Or like northern Michigan, where it's like, I want to move away from snow and crappy weather, like not more
Minnesota.
of it. Minnesota. It's like, listen, the Packers are great. Okay, I'm a Vikings fan. I like, well, actually, I'm not, but I like the purple and or purple and yellow. But like at the end of the day, like I want to get away from the snow as much as I possibly can. And Texas seems like the answer.
Snow in Texas the other day.
Okay, sure, but if it snows for 3 days a year instead of like all of the year, that'd be awesome. Thanks.
Why don't you just go pitch a tent in Costco's backyard?
I would be okay with that, actually. I am fully okay with camping in Costco's backyard. That's cool with me.
I'll tell him tomorrow. He's actually got Carpet Fest coming up in June. I'm hoping that's like borders are open. We're gonna drive from New Brunswick to California to go to Carpet Fest.
I would be shocked if borders are open in June. But I wish you the best of luck with this pipe dream that you have, that you'll be able to leave the country anytime soon.
I'm hoping just to get to Ontario in October.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, you could probably come to because we, in Ontario, what we do is like the numbers go down a little bit. So we just open everything again. And then we're like, oh my God, why are numbers going up? And then we just shut everything back down. So I think that Doug Ford will still be in power in the year 2057. And I'll have grandchildren and we'll still be in lockdown. That's how I imagine the world is going. This has become so doom and gloom.
Have you followed New Brunswick in all of this?
Not really. I know that you guys were one of the only provinces that you weren't letting people in from other provinces like way back in the spring.
We were the first one to open back up in North America. And we just shut down again because over Christmas we got a wave. And we're now like our numbers are going up. So we shut down, like everything's divided into zones. And right now we're partially shut down. And we've shut our province off from everybody. Which living in a dual border town, like, is hard on us because the three towns, the town that's in Quebec, us, and then the town that's in Maine, they run as one community. And now you've got two parts of your town that are shut off from you. So all right, I think we're going to get to that portion of the evening where I do this fun thing. For anybody who doesn't follow me, I like to do this really fun thing where I drop the stream link into the chat. and invite people to come on and ask questions. What y'all think about that?
Oh, like they actually come on. Oh, okay, cool. All right, I like this.
I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. And we always have a good time when people try to do it. Don't be shy. And it's kind of like my mom way of pushing these people who are too scared to ask questions and making them ask questions. Because I'm a big hype person over here. I like to bring on people who've never been on streams before. Like, I'm a mom. So, this is my mom way of doing everything. And asks, like, don't come on and be like,
Wow, you got a lot of takers.
yeah, so many people who are just cuckoo to come on here. Sometimes it takes a minute because of the lag. So, just a second. We're gonna check this out. I mean, if Anwar, if you want to ask those, go ahead. But yeah, no, seriously, come ask a question, guys. It's fun. Oh, hi, Sage.
Hi.
Do you have any questions for our very special guest?
I actually had a question for you. I can already bother Adam with questions on Discord.
Okay.
Used to it. My question would be, what is your favorite morph of ball python? Because you said apparently
So
I
are
don't
we talking?
python morphs
Are we
that are good.
are we talking morph or are we talking single gene?
I don't know. You said I don't know about good ball pythons.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with my favorite single gene, which means it's just one gene, has to be leopard. So the reason I like leopard is you can add it into everything. It's gonna brighten, but it also makes crazy patterns. I'll send you pictures of some later. I have some.
I would love
And
that. Thank you.
my favorite morph. I'm Canadian. I gotta go with fellow Canadian. It's the reason why I started breeding. It is the freeway.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah. Because, Billy at Mutation Creation.
Yeah, the mother Canadians there, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question for Adam. Adam, I
Sure.
think you have a banana ball python without a name right now. Please tell. I think it's a holdback, maybe. Please tell me you're going to name it Hammock.
So it is ball python number 22, and its name is Hammock.
Oh,
Adam,
God.
you're the best.
Oh, God.
No, you're the best. Thanks for running the Discord channel. I appreciate that. But yeah, his name is Hammock, and the other ball pythons. One was named, I forget. I don't know. But the one that I'm keeping, his name is Hammock, because Banana Hammock is absolutely hilarious.
I'm trying to convince John to name. We've got a female banana coming. Sage, bananas have a really weird sex ratio thing, so
I like them.
it's really hard to find a female. But we have a female coming, and I'm trying to convince John to name it Princess Consuela Banana Hammock.
That's a good name.
Shaking his head.
It's a very
Yeah,
good
ball
name.
pythons, that could be like a whole well, actually, Clinton did a whole video, but like male makers, female makers, it's like a weird thing. So I don't know what mine are. I haven't sexed them yet, but yeah, I still have 3 of them. I'm going to sell 2 of them and keep a hold of 1 for sure. So
Well, what was the parent? What was the pairing?
it was a male.
A male banana? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you sexed anything else in the clutch or the non-bananas?
So I didn't sex anything at all. I sold the others as unsexed babies, and I have not sexed just because, like, I don't know. I feel like when they're little, they're so delicate, and I know that people do them. I just feel like they're just so delicate. I have not sexed them the way I would normally sex a ball python.
Yeah. So if your male is a male maker, that means all the bananas are male, and if your male is a female maker, that means all the bananas are female. What's great about that is anything that's not banana, if it's a female maker, is male. And if it's a male maker, anything that's not banana is female.
That's convenient.
So weird.
And if you breed a male maker to a female banana, like a male maker banana to a female maker, anything that's super banana will be male. And anything, if you breed a female maker banana to a female banana and something comes out super banana, that's a female. Would you like me to draw you a diagram?
Yeah, actually, like I told you before, I'm super dumb with science. So yeah, I'd be I
I will be
appreciate it.
the Miss Frizzle of ball pythons. Yeah, it was great. Oh, Sage disappeared. She's like, I'm done with this. I'm over. Guys, don't be shy. Pop on in and come say hi. Ooh, that rhymed.
Do you like a poet? You didn't even know it.
That's lame. Just like your name. Dun, dun,
Okay.
dun. Adam's like, I'm done. I'm off now. So I'm gonna give it 15 more minutes. If you guys aren't asking questions, it's done in 15 minutes, guys. And then he'll be gone forever and never back again. This is your time if you don't know him. Aurora, I know you're in here and I know you have questions. Pop on the darn stream. Just saying, Aurora. So everybody's like, no. See, when it usually happens, it takes like 2 or 3 people, and then they're like, don't be shy. I don't bite. So you want to get into your amastics and things like that. Is there anything you're hoping to get out of? Let's get to that.
No, not really. Like I think that I probably wouldn't get any more plated lizards or jeweled lacerdas just because
Jules Lacerda is a
I don't know, like my experience with them has been like unhandleable. And what I like is I like animals that I can like take out and show people. So but the other thing too is like with corn snakes, I talk a lot of trash about corn snakes, but to get back, I would love to get a corn snake that doesn't want to bite me every time I take it out. So that'd be cool too, which is like a weird thing because I say that to people, they're like, every corn snake I've ever had, they're like the sweetest. I've had bad luck. So
that's what I see about beardies. Like I see all these videos of beardies and they're like so chill, and then I walk by the enclosure of mine and all 5 of them are like I don't know if it's because they're super breeder quality and like their lines have been carefully tracked and things like this. Like they're, super clean lines. But they're not nice. They're not cute and adorable.
Yeah, I was very lucky with every bearded dragon I've ever had that they were all handleable. None of them wanted to bite me. Like they were all very easy and super chill. And then Diamond, like what a dream. Besides the fact that he tries to bite my ear every episode. Besides that, yeah, very lucky. Bearded dragons are like, if you want something that you can handle, like bearded dragons are the thing. They're big enough that they're robust. You're not going to break them. And if they get mad, they're not going to break you. I think that if you're willing to do what it takes to take care of one in terms of handleability, nothing beats a bearded dragon.
Oh yeah. Watch when they're mad though. Because
if they do bite you, it sucks. But I've never been bitten, knock on wood, by a bearded dragon.
John got bit right here by one. By our big male. That was a good time.
Yeah, but, like I've been bit by a leopard gecko once, but never by like a crested gecko or a bearded dragon, or like most of the things that people say are like they won't bite you. Like I did a whole video on top 5 things that won't bite you, but yeah. But in the leopard gecko that bit me, it was only because I was handling females and I was putting him into a female enclosure to breed, and then he bit me because he probably thought I was a leopard. He probably wanted to like go to town on my hand, so it wasn't like an aggressive thing. It was like I want to breed with you thing.
Yeah. So we're taming down our Cuban false chameleons, which it's really weird. They're one of the few species of lizards that technically bond, so they have facial recognition. And they will bond with someone. Usually it's like one person. So the female's bonded with my significant other and the male's bonded with me. Mine, for some reason, will only eat if they're on your hand. They will not hunt. That's all they'll do. So literally, you're like spoon feeding this thing grub pie, and these guys are snail eaters. Like they eat whole snails, shell and all. So what's that tell you about their bite?
Well, yeah, it'd probably be like in a very lesser degree of a caiman, where it doesn't have super sharp teeth, but it will crush you.
Yeah. So these guys are little, and you're spoon feeding grub pie to them because mine don't want to hunt or eat anything, that resembles a bug. Spoon feeding this thing, and I'm using like a plastic spoon, and he just latched onto it and goes whoop, and crushed, like splintered the spoon right up through the handle. They're fine. You
Yeah,
almost.
I think that I can only imagine being bit, but never mind those. But like a caiman lizard, which is 10 times larger and has the same sort of crushing ability. And then you get like into bigger things like crocodilians. I can only imagine what that crushing sensation must feel like to be bit by. And like I know what Bob feels like when he bites, and it sucks. And
Yeah.
he's a little bit bigger than a false chameleon, but not much. And that bite feels terrible. It sucks.
Yeah, I've only been really bitten by the little hatchling ball pythons we bought. Like that's it, because they think they're so big and scary. But yeah, no, I do not want to get bit by the Cuban false chameleons once they get full grown. Mm-mm. No.
Yeah, little tiny snakes, it's kind of like almost cute when they bite you. When bigger snakes try to bite you, it's not as cute.
No, not my. We have one breeder female, and for some reason, she just goes for my face every time. Every time I have to do like the bull thing with the waving a towel or something over here while I'm trying to give her a rat because she'll come for my face.
Yeah, so I've got one Medusa. She's the big one that was like 5,000 grams last year. She was absolutely massive. So with her, she's huge. So with her, I take my big long hook and then I undo her enclosure with that, and I take big hemostats. Because like as soon as you open the enclosure, even if you're not like this time of year when it's like breeding season, you'll open the enclosure, and with most of them, they just don't care, right? And they'll maybe try to strike at you defensively, but with her, she thinks everything is food. So she took a pop and almost got me right in the middle of the chest. She missed me by like this much, like 2 days ago. I couldn't even like believe it because that doesn't usually happen. But so now when I have a rat, it's long hook, hemostats, and I don't know. Feeding bit by a big ball python would probably suck.
Most of my bites happen from like I'm opening the snake bag after transport. That's most. I had one tag me like right here, like right where the collarbone meets. That was not a fun.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
No, it wasn't deep. It was
So
just
Adam
like
bites are cute, unlike Dave bites. Sage is so funny. Sage,
I can't wait to
yeah,
for
Sage is
CRB
yeah.
to see that whole Dave versus Adam thing go down. I'm going to be
See,
there.
that's the thing is like I don't even know how that started because like I was basically blowing Dave at the beginning of the episode, talking about how his channel's the best one, and then what it was is like Cusco came out was like, yeah, Dave's the one who said all that about your channel. So that's when I think like I think at the end of the day, like everyone has their niche, and with him, he has the most labor intensive niche that there is. Maybe the most fun and rewarding niche because he gets to go around the world. But to make a video like that is a lot harder and takes a lot more time than what I do. So I think it was just like this punk kid shows up 2 years ago and starts making these top 5 videos. He's about to take, I think that's what it was. But I don't know. I like Dave and I hope that he likes me. I'm sure it'll be like very amicable when we meet as I like stare up at him to the point where I'm hurting my neck.
Yeah, he's the nicest human being ever. Like absolutely. I have to get him on. He's coming on at some point. Clint, I'm still waiting to hear back from Clint to schedule a time. Clint's coming on for Clint's Reptiles. So that's gonna be fun. Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah.
Sage wants to know if he wants stilts for that visit. Can you mail them to me and I'll make sure he has them? Because I will be there.
I think that'd be hilarious if I just showed up with stilts, walked up to him. But Yeah, I'm not. That'd be cool to like see the world as like an average person rather than looking up at everything. That'd be cool. I'm down to do that.
Yeah, you'll be like 5'7".
All right, fair enough.
Which is how tall I am. Oh my goodness.
Hey, if I ever hit puberty, I think maybe I'll be 5'7" one day too.
Yeah, you might finally start like, growing hair and
Maybe
all
one
that.
day. I really hope so. That'd be really cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome if I could. Yeah, I mean, I got really good genetics. What can I say? I can't see. My hair doesn't grow. I'm really short. Who wouldn't want to reproduce with me?
Let's ask her. Where is she? Let's get behind the scenes. She was in the chat. She's long gone. She's long gone.
Oh yeah, she's long gone.
So do you want to focus more on getting species to breed or just getting a new species just to learn about?
I think it would just like breeding's cool. Like if I could get like one pair and then they breed, that'd be cool and like sell off offspring. But my goal is to make like the coolest. I want to make like a reptile room that Dave Kaufman would want to do a video on. Like I want it to be that impressive. So that would be like my main focus, I guess.
Lily Ann wants to know how I keep that rat smell down. So I use a bedding that's different than your average bear. It's technically kitty litter, but it works. It is recycled newspaper that they crunch up into pellets. So it's not that aspen or that paper.
I've seen that before, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called here in Canada. It's called Yesterday's News. Clever. But it works really well. It works really, really well. It helps absorb things. And I mean, it's recycled. Go conservation and recycling. Save the planet. So that's what we do. Like, we do nothing special. It's all about the bedding and how often you clean it. I'm actually I'm gonna litter train my rats. Yeah, I want to litter train them. Yesterday News. Yes, that's what it's called here in Canada. I don't know if they have it down wherever you are in the States. I don't know if they have it, but it's literally old newspapers they crinkle up. Get your last minute questions in, guys. We got 3 minutes. Adam's tired, and it's bedtime.
Yeah, it is 11. I did promise Discord that I would do a short voice chat before I retire for the evening, but
oops. I mean, you could probably just hit voice chat now and do both at the same time. Like that could have. Or I mean, they could all be here.
Hey, I'm just impressed that I could get this audio and video to work for a full 2 hours. I am more than impressed.
Yeah, it's starting to go a little blurry. Won't lie. You're kind of light cracked out. But paper pellet litter, yes.
Oh yeah, my light in the back. Yeah, I crapped out because apparently it doesn't work. Yeah, I went and bought the most expensive module light that I could find, but it doesn't work when it's plugged in. So yeah, that makes sense.
Absolute sense. I spent $13 on my ring light. Amazon special.
So I have like a soft box over here, and I have a ring light over here. I have another soft box which I could use, and then I use like the light in the back to make it look cool. But that light only lasts for 2 hours. So.
Oh, someone wants you to build a pond.
Oh, let me guess, Anwar, right? Oh yeah. Okay. I want to build a pond. So Michelle and I went for a walk with the dogs earlier today. And there's this really cool house really close to our house that has like this drawbridge that goes from the sidewalk to their house. And underneath is like a gravel pit. But I'm like, okay, so what if we did that? But instead of a gravel pit, it was a pond. That would be cool, right? And she just kind of looked at me like, I wish you would just stop. No, that would not be cool. So I don't know if the pond will happen at this property, but it would be cool. We do have a pool, which I try to convince her that we should make into an Asian water monitor enclosure instead. But apparently, oh no, we bought a pool. Let's use it as a pool. So women, am I right?
Hey. We have Mississippi.
Hey.
Yeah, watch who you're talking to. Uh, we actually have Mississippi map turtles. They're 15 years old. They were surrendered to us. Two little boys, and we have them in a big tank. But I wanted to get you can buy pond liners that are hard plastic, so they're just like odd shaped kiddie pools, but deeper. I just want to
Yep.
buy one of those and put bricks around it and fill it with water for inside the house.
Yeah, I think that'd be very cool. I have a yellow belly slider and a Mississippi map turtle, and they're at least 21 years old. So the
Yeah.
person I got them from had them for 20 years, and I've had them for about a year. So yeah, I think it'd be cool to have like an outdoor pond, but I just don't know if this is the right property to do it at.
Yeah. No, I'm going to do this indoors. I'm just going to get one of those hard liners and put bricks around it. And it's cheaper than buying a big tank. I mean, we have one anyways, but I just think it'd be more fun to have like a kidney shaped, I don't know, anything. It's been 2 hours, guys. Any final questions? He has to go to bed. I mean, his camera's starting to get blurry. It's tired. It needs to be tucked
As
in.
Sage just said, yeah, it's just my vision. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's actually a thing that says if you hold your glasses up to the camera, make it focus, and then remove your glasses, will show the people what it looks like through your eyes.
That would be horrifying. I am so blind. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, my glasses are super thick. Like,
Yeah, it looks like kind of like Bubbles glasses.
yeah,
That's kind of what it looks like. And they're thinned out. I pay to have them thinned out. So I'm about as blind as I can get without being legally blind.
that character, by the way, because he never breaks character in person, is so funny. So my name's
Yeah.
Kathleen. My name's Kathleen, but my friend was calling me Cat, and he's like, "Ooh, a kitty cat, can I keep you?" And I'm like, I have not had enough alcohol for this, guys. Nope. And the thing is they're out there and they are not breaking character this whole time. And you're like standing there, and there's like, Randy and Leahy dancing on tables. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking Leahy doesn't dance on many tables anymore, but that was a rude thing to say. But
That was horrible. No, I'm gonna end it. Thank you so much, Adam, for coming on. This was fun.
hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And I'm sure your channel is going to blow up. So if you haven't hit subscribe. And then if you haven't joined the Wickens Wicked Reptiles Discord, do that. And then tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we have a comedy show and you can watch for free if you are on the Discord.
Yeah. All of Adam's links are in the thing below. Actually, I love it. You do link tree too. God love you. I love when people do link trees instead of me copying and pasting 20 bajillion links.
Makes it easy.
That's so great. Before we go, guys, especially to people who are new, I just want to promote what's happening Saturday night. So Saturday night, I have a lovely lady by the name of Shanti Creans coming from Creature Teachers out of Oregon. This woman's whole life is education. She's literally the female Steve Irwin, like fantastic. She runs an education center. They also rescue reptiles. Like she's got business permits, licenses. This is this woman's life. Unfortunately, due to COVID, which is, it sucks. They weren't able to do as many. I think they did like 4 or 5 education shows this year. When in a run of a summer, they're used to doing 60 to 70. And they use this money to take care of these animals people, they're rescuing and using for educational purposes. So Saturday night, 9 p.m. EST on my channel, she is coming on. She's doing a full education show, and we're going to raise money. Her PayPal will be in the description. So, I mean, this woman's got Gila monsters, caiman. My God, she's got a gaboon viper. So everybody pop on out and come see. I hope to see everybody here. Maybe Adam from Wickens Wicked Pickle King will come by again.
Maybe we'll see.
Maybe.
I'll probably have a jar of pickles for that one.
No, she's actually a super nice lady. I'm hoping to get her more onto the social media. I met her through Brian Cusco and Lance Kirkman. So I want to help. If it wasn't for people like her, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing, guys. Like we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So let's save some animals. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Oh, it's just me.